For them to bomb the Qataris, not only did it suspend diplomacy for several weeks, now the Qataris are threatening a retaliation alongside Saudi Arabia. As we speak right now, Marco Rubio is in Israel. And a big reason why Marco Rubio is there is because they're strategizing the retaliation from the Gulf states. As you guys know, October 7th happened. It's been about almost 2 years now at this point. And we are in the final phases of Israel occupying the Gaza Strip, right? They've obviously waged war on several of their neighbors, to include Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Iran. They've bombed Somalia, they bombed Iraq, several different places, right? And they're in the final stages of Gaza. And right now there's a relentless bombing campaign going on in Gaza as we speak. They're bombing the high-rises every single day now, still killing kids. Starvation is still going on. Aid is not getting in as the way it's supposed to. It's relentless, right? And they're in the final stages of finally occupying the Gaza Strip, trying to get rid of the last members of Hamas, while also simultaneously pushing for a release of the hostages. And also, they're at a pivotal time because they bombed Qatar. Now, for those of you that are wondering, Myron, why does bombing Qatar matter so much, and why is it relevant? The reason why it's so relevant, chat, is because this is a huge escalation. Qatar is a strong ally of the United States. We have our biggest military base in the Middle East there, okay? And for the Israelis to bomb Qatar, despite the fact that they're saying it was a precise strike and we're targeting members of Hamas, is still incredibly disrespectful and violates their sovereignty. Okay? So, not only is he doing the last leg of Operation Gideon's Chariots, which is finishing up the war in Gaza and occupying it, he also is in the middle of dealing with the ramifications of his failed airstrike on quite literally one of America's allies, Qatar. And Qatar, just so you guys know, is the mediator in this situation. Qatar is the one facilitating a lot of these deals. All the meetings between Steve Witkoff and Iran and Hamas and the Israelis were all done via the Qataris. Okay? So, for them to bomb the Qataris, not only did it suspend diplomacy for several weeks, now the Qataris are threatening a retaliation alongside Saudi Arabia. This is a diplomatic nightmare for the United States. Okay? Now, we got conflicting stories because on one side, the Israelis are saying we had U.S. concurrence, but then on the other side, the U.S. is saying we didn't know. As we speak right now, matter of fact, and I'll show you guys this real fast. As we speak right now, Marco Rubio is in Israel. And you guys are probably wondering, well, Myra, what's he doing in Israel? You know what? I think I can show you better than I can tell you. This is what he's doing in Israel. Okay? He went and kissed the wall yesterday with your boy Benjamin Netanyahu and Huckleberry, or whatever his name is. Huckleberry is what I call him. Okay? And a big reason why Marco Rubio is there is because they're strategizing the retaliation from the Gulf states. Okay? Turkey might get involved. Saudi Arabia's already made a statement that they're going to assist, and Qatar said that they're going to respond. So Marco Rubio's over there to try to figure out how Israel's going to defend itself from this retaliation from the Arab world. Because another reason why it's important, or why it's such a bad look that the Israelis bomb Qatar, is because I've told you guys this before, but I'm going to say it again. The Gulf states, guys, are cucks, okay? Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, all these wealthy Gulf states, they're wealthy because they have access to the U.S. markets, because the United States allows them to trade their resources in the West. They don't have sanctions like Iran does, okay? So this is why they're incredibly wealthy, and this is why these Gulf states invest so much in the United States, and they buy weapons and everything else like that. And in return, the United States is supposed to protect them, okay? Now, obviously, these royal families are cool with the United States, but a lot of the constituents, right, a lot of critics of the Gulf states say, hey, how dare you work with the Americans when the Americans supply the Israelis with the weapons that kill Muslims, right? That's how they look at it. Like, how are you going to go sit there and work with the Americans? And they also work with the Israelis underhand, by the way. The Saudis and the Israelis work together. They just don't do it openly. But one of the big criticisms that these Gulf states get is for working with the United States and working with Israel behind the scenes, okay? And then the Abraham Accords kind of formalized some of this stuff. UAE, Sudan, Bahrain, and a couple other Gulf states went ahead, well, not Sudan. Sudan's not a Gulf state. They came in later. But a couple of these countries started to recognize Israel, right, without answering the Palestinian question. That's another big reason why October 7th happened. But going back to what I'm saying, the reason why this is such a problem, the bottom line why this is such a problem, Israel bombing Qatar, is because Qatar, in the Muslim world's eyes, sold out, right? You sold out. You work with the Americans. You work with the Israelis. These people are responsible for killing Muslims every day. You sold out. But the reason why they sold out was because so they can have access to the U.S. markets and be protected. Well, guess what? They clearly can't be protected because the Israelis attacked them. And the whole purpose of selling out is halfway for the protection. So if the U.S. can't even protect them from Israel, who is the main aggressor in the Middle East, why are they working with them? And this has raised some serious questions all across the Middle East where Israel clearly can't be reeled in. And they do whatever that they want to do. Why can't the United States control these guys? Because Israel is the main aggressor in the region. Also keep in mind, Israel is the only country in that region that has a nuclear bomb. Despite the fact that they will not acknowledge they have these nuclear weapons, they have nuclear weapons. So as you guys can see, this is a serious problem for the entire Middle East. Because they knew that there was always a potential problem with Israel, but now Israel taking the overt step and actually bombing Qatar, Doha, the capital, is unacceptable. Now, why the am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because Benjamin Netanyahu stopped what he was doing in the middle of this tumultuous time with his government to offer his condolences to Charlie Kirk. Do you see now the gravity of the trouble that Israel's in, while simultaneously the prime minister stepping away to tweet this stuff while in the middle of a war in like 7 different places and potentially just starting a war with what was supposed to be an ally? Give me ones in the chat if that all makes sense. I had to really explain to you guys the gravity of what is going on in the Middle East. This is a very crazy time. And this is a major escalation. Bombing Qatar. Insane. I was shocked when I saw it. And they didn't even get the guys. That's the worst part, bro. They didn't even kill the guys they wanted to kill. I guess they got foreknowledge or some shit and didn't show up to the building and they bombed the building and killed like innocent people. None of the Hamas leadership that they wanted to kill was even there. So it's like even worse. It's like salt in the wounds. Insult to injury. Couldn't even get their guys. This is why Marco Rubio's over here kissing the wall with Netanyahu trying to figure out what we're going to do. Also, I forgot to mention this too. We just sent like billions of dollars to Israel just recently, like literally like 24, 48 hours ago, chat. Sent them niggas like, what is it, 600 billion or something like that, chat? Someone in the chat's going to put it. We just sent them billions of dollars within the last 48 hours, chat. Emergency. Because of this shit. And one of the most pivotal times in Israeli history, your boy Benjamin Netanyahu authored a bunch of different tweets for Charlie.